right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Two Brothers, Same Mother. Of course, we got myself, Sheik, who is spotting some new eyewear. Apparently, I've needed glasses for about 15 years. And my older brother, AJ, who could have been told me that because I haven't been able to catch the ball since I was 6.
I had to make sure I had to throw the what's up with the deuces, considering we're on podcast now.
Glad you brought that up. We are people. So first and foremost, if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget like and subscribe. You should know the deal by now. But to our new fans who are listening to us on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, and there's about 5 or 6 other places where you can find us. Hit whatever you need to hit so that way you get notified of us posting our podcast. We do stuff at least once a week. We'll get at least one thing a week out of us. Like I said, more things will come down the pike. But don't be afraid to come to YouTube, Two Brothers, Same Mother. Our Facebook page, which is also Two Brothers, Same Mother. And the number 2 is how we say Two Brothers. So look for that everywhere. It's all branded the same. Two Brothers, Same Mother. The only thing that's different is our individual, social media accounts on Twitter and on Instagram, which you'll see throughout as we talk. If you're watching on YouTube, for people who are not, my Instagram and my Twitter is Sheik Styles. Very simple, STYLES. And yours is AJ.
I forget. I think it's AJG_233. That's my Twitter.
AJG_233 is his
Twitter.
Yeah, he uses it. Just don't remember it.
I don't really remember it. I just kind of scroll through the timeline and see what's going on. And
speaking of not remembering, I do want to get into training camp because we just had our first week of training camp. And this is going to be kind of what I call y'all must have forgot. Because although I will say all beat reporters, in my opinion, that cover the Eagles, I feel have been very, very fair. But I think y'all must have forgot Jalen Hurts is a second-year player who wasn't expected to be a starter last year because although it's a good thing, in my opinion, criticism seems to be a little rough about the fact that his accuracy isn't there and that, he's been a little sloppy.
That was after day 1.
This is what I read after Saturday's practice, day 4. From Jimmy Kemp. See, I've seen day 1 from Jeff McClain.
I'm not going to listen. That's
I'm not arguing with you. I mean, there's several beat reports.
No. I'm not disagreeing. That's his opinion. That's literally. I've listened to about 4 different podcasts and read about a bunch of different articles. Plus, fortunately, with the invention of YouTube, right, we get to actually watch the practices, so I get to see some of my own eyes. First day where he had issues with accuracy, right, wasn't because he had dropped back 1, 2, 3, looked and was getting, as we love to say, our Donovan McNabb's worm killers, right? It wasn't one of those situations. It was sometimes he would leave the pocket too early, and if he could run, he would the best do a run, but then he would see something open at the last second, his feet weren't set, and he would just throw it. Day 2, let's build him back up right away. Let's move him around a little bit. Day 2, he literally looked like a different quarterback. Day 3, looked better than he did day 1. Every day, he's gotten better and better and better and better. If there is some negative with him, it's he needs to be a little bit more decisive. He's holding on to the ball a little bit, but not the Carson Wentz sense of holding the ball. Let me do like 15 pirouettes in the backfield. It's there. It's hey man, run, just go. You get what I'm saying, and make the play. So those are
gotta be a little bit more patient. Basically, is what you're trying to say. Let the route develop a little more. But he's been trained his whole life that if you see it open, and Jalen Hurts is not the guy. He's not coming across as skittish. He sees an opening where if I run, I'm going to get 10 yards. Mm-hmm. So let me take this off rather than let me wait one more beat and the guy's open and the play.
Right. And the only pass that was really like, whoa, what you doing there, kid, was on day 1 once again, and that was a pass to Hurts where he looked like he was going to run. So Hurts thought Hurts was going to run, so he kind of cut his route short. And Hurts threw it to Ertz, and it was like 3 yards over his head.
I do want to point out a couple things. One, there has been reports that the Hurts to Ertz connection is actually blossoming a little bit. Not anything where it's compared to Devontae Smith, you know.
Oh my God! And
him and Devontae Smith is totally different.
Well, there's a good thing.
I'm going to need you when I say Hurts to Devontae Smith for you not to grab your balls.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Like that turned you on a little bit. I need you not to do that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. I'm a little hot guy, a little bat wing. I had to pull that out. The camera can show that much.
Easy.
Anyway, so
go ahead.
It's a positive and a negative. There is negative. There is obvious a connection there with them. But sometimes there's been times where Hurts, especially has gone to him one too many. I think at one point in time during I think on the 11 on 11s, he went to him like 4 straight passes.
Remember, too, people, they are working on stuff, so we don't know if Sirianni didn't go up to him and say, "Listen, I want you to find a way to throw this guy open on this."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So we don't know all that. We're just observing, right?
Right.
I don't know if that's going to lead. And once again, we're in day 4, you know. But
right. But in the good sense is here's the thing. Oh, he's just Deshaun Jackson. All these passes that we're talking about that he went to
are not Deshaun Jackson passes.
No, they were red zone. They were in the red zone. So where he got open. So
which I want to ask you about this to focus on the red zone. When you look at Devontae Smith, as you said, a lot of people thought of him as kind of Deshaun Jackson-esque, Deshaun Jackson-esque, if we will.
Right.
Yeah, I'll learn how to talk one day, I promise.
Yeah.
You know, hit the slant route and go and break it, or the deep ball. But the routes that they're running are supposedly almost like big man routes, what you would expect the Alshon Jeffrey, the corner, the end zone, you know, type stuff. Now, they're not really asking Devontae to like out jump people, but
he's been out jumping people.
What's that?
But he's been out jumping.
But he's been out jumping people. Right. Do you think that there might be some carryover into the regular season where they do have a play where it's like go to the post and go get it?
Yeah. It's listen. This has been. There's no pads on, right?
Right.
And iron sharpens iron.
Right.
And Devontae Smith and Darius Slay have been going at it. But not in a bad way. Like Slay's like, yo, I like it. Like this kid is making me better.
Can I talk about the other side of the field on that?
Yes, sir.
Because our newest addition, Steve, don't call me Steven Nelson. He now wants to be Steve Nelson.
Just Steve Nelson.
Has brought up, I remember this Travis Fulgham guy burning me when I was with the Steelers, and I ain't like it. And he made a kind of name for himself against Pittsburgh. And apparently they are going at it on the other side in a good way where basically Steve Nelson is like, hey, you know, this is what you want to do here. But understand if you try this on the next play, we'll shut it down. Like, and then they've been going back and forth. It's looking like that Fulgham is starting to, granted with shorts and shells, but is getting the attention of, this guy's really going to blossom into a nice outside receiver for us, and has gotten the better of Steve Nelson a little bit too, which is no small feat. It's not like, he's playing like crap. It's no, Fulgham is stepping his game up. So with that being said, with the iron sharpening and iron thing, what's your thoughts of our number 2 cornerback essentially going to, if we looked at preseason depth chart per se, really sharpening the tools of our, I guess, 4th wide receiver?
Right now, your X and Z receivers would be Devontae Smith and Fulgham, and your wide receiver would be
Ward, right? Ward. Yeah, which honestly is not necessarily it's bad because you went because
he's a 2nd round pick,
right?
But we understand why. Oh, Jesus Christ, 1st round pick. Oh, you're right. You are fuck.
But understand, I mean, as you said, guy's a lower body injury. He lost one of his best friends, and the Eagles have noticed that it's really affected him a lot. He is a young kid, and
he's 22. Davion Taylor has looked really, really good. Once
which
again,
we're going to need if we're going to be a surprise team.
Yes, which my suggestion, and it's not to any fault of his own. He is just under COVID protocol because he was around somebody that potentially could have had COVID. Singleton, who we actually liked last year. Singleton better get back to camp because Taylor's about to snatch that number 2 job, that second linebacker position. There's somebody that I'm really, really glad that is standing out, and he is probably looked like, outside of Miles Sanders, the second best running back. Once again, okay, outside of Miles, the best running back on this team, Jordan Howard. He's come back. He looks faster than your buddy from Detroit. Nothing against him. He looks better in shape. He looks more explosive. He looks lighter. He looks more elusive. But yeah, he's looked really good. Jordan Mailata, currently.
We're going to get to that. Because and did you want to mention anyone that's not on the offensive defensive line? That was my next thing I was going to go to.
Kayvon Wallace.
Kayvon has looked a little better, or a lot better, depending on how you view things.
Yeah, he's looked. Basically,
he doesn't look like he's lost out there, and I feel like sometimes last year he looked a little lost.
Yeah, well, it's kind of. It seemed like Jim Schwartz didn't, and his band of merry men on defense act like they had the attitude of they didn't have time to show the young bulls what to do. And we were like, yo, you drafted these kids. Let's see what they can do. The season's lost. Let's see what they can do. And he refused to do it. And these guys all look like, even what's his name, looks like he's going to be a Bradley. It looks like Sean Bradley. Look like he's going to be a
oh my God,
Sean Bradley.
Stuart Bradley.
I almost did. That's why I was like, Sean Bradley. But yeah, he looked like he's going to be a quality special teamer.
And a spot starter. Who knows? He might be the next Ike Reese for this team. Or better. But I wanted to talk because the offensive and defensive lines really got me excited because there was one battle we were well aware of. But there's another battle that's really heating up too. That if we were paying attention, we could have expected it, but it seems like we're getting the best out of both players. And I'm going to start with that second battle, which is Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett, who are both impressive.
I was going to go there with it.
Yeah, but they're both impressive. They're both doing well. But at this point, it's no longer Derek Barnett was a first-round pick. I got this. No. These guys are going hard, and they're also going up against Mailata and Dillard. So speaking of iron sharper than iron, it's working out really well. I did want to point out, so I read something about this and I saw the play too. There was a play where Mailata pretty much stonewalled, I believe it was Sweat. Okay. Stonewalled Sweat, boom. Sweat ain't go nowhere. And Jeff Stopland beeline right to Mailata and shoot him out, even though he stonewalled him. And he was chewing him out because of his hand positioning. Because it was, you bigger than this dude, basically, but that's not going to happen with someone, with some of the people that you're going to be playing. Meanwhile, with Dillard, Dillard had a play where Barnett tried to do something which basically was like a double spin move. It was a little awkward, but he still beat him and he held him. And where, of course, Stotland, went to talk to Dillard like, yo, you can't be holding like that. Don't get beat like that. I forget who the defensive line coach is, was talking to Barnett. And even though Barnett beat him, like, yo, bro, that was clunky. My point with this is that I feel like last year, both of those players would have got praised. And now it seems like they're on another level now. It's like, no, that's not good enough. Just because the result was right doesn't mean everything else wasn't. Am I looking too much into this? That like, hey, these guys, there's just more being expected out of them?
Yeah, no, what you doing? Like, and i.e., the reason why, if anybody is listening who is just a casual, good football, or just a regular football fan, or even watching this on YouTube, right? Or like, well, I don't understand why a coach, if he stonewalled them, that's the objective. No. Good point with the hand placement. Okay, here is my coaching on this. Because he was able to stonewall him, it was because Josh Sweat tried to bull rush. He tried to overpower. If Josh Sweat would have hit him like he was going to, and then did one of them dip under the shoulders,
or even a hand smack and get the shoulder inside.
Yeah, but if he would have just stepped and like set him up, he was going to do that. Boom, and then bang, either way, or spin, hit him with a spin move. Josh Sweat has had technically he had 3 sacks. 4. He's had 4 sacks, 3 of which have been against Dillard. One Mailata gave up last night. If I had to give an edge to either player, right now I'd have to give it to Sweat.
Yeah. But the edge is almost razor thin, which is kind of surprising, not because of Sweat, but because I feel like we kind of wrote off Barnett just because we've been waiting.
The issue with Barnett isn't because he's bad or he's just an average player. It's his inconsistency.
Yes,
and
that's
his
a big
injury.
Thing. Yeah,
and his injury, and he's been injury prone. He has shown flashes, and people are going to say, "Well, Josh Sweat has had the same issue, has shown a lot of inconsistencies, but Josh Sweat also wasn't a first round pick."
Right, and here's the bottom line: is that what's interesting is that you're seeing a battle, but you're not seeing a battle. Like I feel last year in camp, you saw a battle because Mailata still was trying to figure out really how to play football, and Andre Dillard was a head case. This year, it's more so, you kind of getting the best out of both of them. It's not perfect, but you're getting the best out of both of them. Not to mention, you got Driscoll on the right side behind Lane that's looking really good too.
And what I liked is that you heard about competitive. Oh, we're going to compete. A lot of time coaches have that what they call coach speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you turn around and you're just like, oh, well, this is what he considers. No, TJ Edwards last night had an interception. And it was ones versus ones, which from my understanding, which was surprising to me, Doug did not like to do and didn't do very often,
right,
which I did not know. Yeah, which I did not know. TJ Edwards had an interception, and as he's running it back, guess who was right behind him chasing him down? Jonathan Gannon.
The defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator was like running behind him for like 30 yards because it was like a 30-yard interception, pumping him up. So with that being said, so as much as they're hard on him, at the same time, they're showing a lot of effort. And that's not the first time that's happened. The running back coach chased Miles Sanders down when he had like an 80-yard run. Even with pads, he would add the 80-yard run, was chasing him down.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go around the league a little bit. Carson and his foot injury, okay? Now, they're talking about that exactly so short and what details it is. It almost sounds like what they're talking about is like a Les Frank injury, but that's not what they're calling it. It's probably a little less serious. Should the Colts be concerned that, hey, Wentz might not be the starter? Period. Like, he just might be so injury prone that you just never going to get anything out of him.
You'll get a little bit out of him. But if you're looking for Peyton, and what I mean is Iron Man Peyton, you're not going to get that. So,
and this guy that they signed was Brett Hundley, who was the backup of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Yes. Who actually showed flashes and just kind of, I think it was more of like a flash in the pan, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was a decent quarterback in college, but he was never expected to be, that dude.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, if you expect Peyton Manning, that's not what you're going to get out of Carson Wentz.
Listen, I know we joked, like you said, hey, they're going to end up making the playoffs and having 69. He's only going to play 69% of the snaps, and we're going to get screwed out. Or if they don't make a playoffs, we're only going to be 74%. I understand. And we laughed and joked about that. But there's some seriousness to that. And I just, would I be surprised if he missed week 1? No. Would I be surprised if he played week 1? No. In my opinion, I think if he played week 1, it's going to be what he did here. He's going to push himself. He's not going to be fully healthy like he did in 2018. And he's going to play a few games, and then he's going to go out, and he's going to have a surgery and then be out for like 4 or 5 weeks and then come back. And
so there was a thing, everybody's talking about records and all that stuff. What records could possibly be broken? And so came up with Eric Dickerson's record, his single season rushing record. Obviously, Derrick Henry rushed for over 2,000 yards. They also mentioned the fact that Dalvin Cook had like 1,800 yards and was hampered by injuries. Do you see anybody possibly taking a run at Eric Dickerson's record this year?
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought what's called broke it.
Single season, though.
You sure Peterson didn't break that?
Yes. Adrian Peterson, and I don't know how they didn't let him get this. He was 8 yards shy. 8 yards. Like, bro, you could have found one more carry for the dude. Go ahead.
That's probably why I thought he had it. 8 yards, Jesus. Yeah.
That's the game too. You know what I'm saying? So you have one more game. Yeah.
But I can, like I said, I can see it, even though it's not a rank. But you can have a season to where, yo, man. I mean, you got guys like Derrick Henry and stuff like that.
I can't see Derrick Henry going for back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons, man. And you just got Julio Jones, and you got AJ Brown. Then again, you might not need to carry the load that much because of those guys, So
you can't line so many people up in a box. Against that.
I mean, 2,105 yards after you just rushed for 2,027 the year before. That's a lot. That's a lot. And had a rough playoff game against the Ravens. I will say, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dalvin Cook take a run at it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see take a run at it. You never know.
Miles Sanders ain't rushing for 2,100 yards. And that's not Miles Sanders' thing. I know we ain't seen the offense. I would imagine Miles Sanders might have 2,000 all-purpose yards. That'd be great. I don't know.
Saquon.
Saquon's coming back from injury. And I wanted to ask you that too. You got some key people coming back from injuries, okay? Especially running backs with Saquon, Christian McCaffrey. Zeke was banged up. Do you think that any of those three or all three are going to kind of come back to what they were pre-injury?
I think the previous two. I don't think the latter is. I know he's coming back and he's underweight. Yada yada yada. Stop, bro.
I think with Zeke, there's a little bit of his arrogance is getting in the way. He doesn't seem that coachable.
No, I don't even think it's just that coachable. I think let's be real. Like, we saw Mike McCarthy's offense in Green Bay. It really wasn't a run-first offense.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And then you have all of these weapons, passing weapons, and the offensive line. I'm not saying it's a bad offense. It's still a really good offense. It's not as good as it was before. Now, in my opinion, I think me personally, I would want to lean on Zeke a little bit more if I was their coach because of Dak coming back from that injury, in which I think he missed 2 training camps already 2 days already because he tweaked something.
Right.
So not Zeke, Dak has. So
right, and they're moving slow with Dak, much like how the Giants are moving slow with Saquon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally understandable.
Yeah, sure. But I definitely could see Saquon. I felt Saquon was a better back than Zeke anyway. So
I honestly think McCaffrey might have the best season out of the 3. But I could see Saquon being right behind it. I also think Sam Darnold's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. So, and the Giants do have better weapons. I mean, so it'll be interesting. I do agree with you though.
And a better defense. And a better defense. I think the Giants defense will give their offense a lot more opportunities with the ball than the Carolina defense.
All right. So 5-pack of questions. We'll start with, we are obviously going to be at the Eagles, one of the Eagles opening practices.
22nd, yes.
Okay. Who is the one player you want to watch the most during that practice?
I want to watch Davion Taylor.
This is just me with my, nerdy lineman ways. I want to see if Mailata can, if by that time, because it's right before the third preseason, is he going to finally say, I'm the starter? You can ship Dillard out or you can put him behind me, but this is my job.
Right now, I mean, like you said, he has a slight edge because they've been rotating.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like that's what they're kind of waiting for there, is for someone to really just put their foot down and go, no, it's mine. That's it.
Right. Yeah, I think it's hard to do that when you're given an opportunity in the battle. It's hard to do that without pads.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Very much so.
Right. Yeah. But he's still edged him out. So right. I think, like you said, Tuesday pads go on, bro.
And that's nothing against Dillard. I actually like Dillard. And the mental jump so far from what's being reported from last year to this year is incredible. So the kids, it sounds like he's worked on that, which is hard to work on your mental just as much as your physical. You know
right.
what I mean?
I just think it's just going to come down to, I just think Mailata is just, with his size and his athletic ability, is just going to, I just think he's just a better athlete than Dillard. And that's what's going to be difference.
There's going to be one preseason game you can watch. Doesn't involve the Eagles. What would it be?
I don't know any other preseason game.
I mean, just name a team. I'm not talking about like matchup. Like, I'll give you an example. For me, I want to see the first game with fans, even though it's preseason, in Vegas.
That would be kind of dope. That's going to be fun.
Just because I see what they do with the Golden Knights with hockey. Granted, it's preseason, but it's literally the first game with fans in that stadium. So
I want to see. Man, I got this weird relationship with the Browns, man. I always have. I'm sorry. I remember being excited watching the Browns, and I remember they played Pittsburgh. This was back in like 90, maybe like 93. I want to say like 93 season. And I think it was 93 season. I remember them in Pittsburgh going at it. It was a game in Cleveland. And I remember Eric Metcalf had like 2 back-to-back punt returns. And it was like, why y'all keep kicking to this dude? Like, it was just a fun, you know what I mean? It was like a fun game.
Julio Jones, Galladay, Odell Beckham Jr. coming back from injury. Which of those 3 has the best season?
Galladay.
Think Galladay going the best one?
Just because he's in a division that the secondaries aren't that great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the secondary with Washington is really that bad. And in Philadelphia,
not that bad.
I'm saying, I look at Julio Jones, who has A.J. Brown on the other side. Who are you really scared of? I mean, I know Indy has a pretty decent secondary. Houston has nobody. Jacksonville has nobody.
They're not, because they're not built to pass like that. They're not. They're not
Tannehill.
Yeah, they're not a pass happy team. And then you look at Cleveland. Listen.
You got to play Baltimore twice a year, so.
Play Baltimore twice a year. Pittsburgh's defense is good. And Cincinnati's defense isn't horrible. So those defenses
name somebody
are
in Pittsburgh's defensive backfield.
Doesn't mean they ain't good.
I don't think Pittsburgh is good as I think they're more off a legacy. They lost Bud Dupree.
They lost Bud Dupree.
I feel like they got T.J. Watt and a bunch of other dudes.
It's still not a bad defense. Still better than our defense. Still better than.
Don't know about that. I don't. The Eagles. I'll say here first. The Eagles' defense might end up being better than Pittsburgh's this year. I'm not saying the Eagles' defense is going to be top 10 and Pittsburgh's going to be 31. I'm not saying that at all. But it would not surprise me to see the Eagles' defense 13th, 14th, and the Steelers being 11th, 12th, or 17th, 18th, and 16th, 17th. Like, it's a lot closer than I think people think.
I agree with you. No, I agree with you. And then a lot of that is because Steelers linebacking core, I can't think of a lot of their names, but they do have some good young kids at up linebacker. Their linebacker core is way better than our linebacker core, but I think our D-line is better than their D-line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to pull them up.
And you want to say, and if you want to say the secondaries are a wash, especially that we got Steven Nelson, okay.
I mean, Stephon Tuitt, okay, and Cameron Hayward on the D line, but I mean, Robert Spillane, Alex Highsmith, obviously T.J. Watt might be the best linebacker in the league. He's actually getting to that point, and Devin Bush is all right. I mean, I just look at that and it kind of. I mean,
T.J. Watt is better than any linebacker in our division. Period.
Well, T.J. Watt might be the best linebacker in the league. That's
what I'm saying is,
and I will say in the secondary
with him, if you say the secondaries are a wash, okay.
I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick is probably better than anybody we got.
Right. So that's what I said. But if you, as a whole, our safeties might be slightly better than you know what I'm saying. So if you want to say secondary, that's even. Their linebackers are better than our linebackers, but our D line is better than their D line. You say that?
Okay.
But once again, Baltimore is a top 5 D.
My interesting thing with this though is that Galladay, what you're going to get Saquon trying to get going, you got 2 other receivers there, and Darius Slayton, and I always forget the other kid, man.
I keep forgetting this
Sterling Shepard. You got to share the ball. Not to say that Tennessee, you don't have to do that either. And Cleveland, I feel like we're going to try to get Odell to get going, and I think defenses are going to zoom in on that. So they got to let it come natural. I just think it's going to be. I think it's going to be close between all 3. To be honest with you,
it's going to be close. It's not like any of those guys are like trash. It's going to be close. I just think Galladay will, at the end of the year, will have a better, I just think he'll just be better.
Question 3. Assuming it's not going to be Carson, or you can even throw him in there, who do you think will be comeback player of the year?
Damn sure ain't going to be Carson. He's not going to play half the year. Joe Burrow.
Okay. I'm going to throw something different at you. I think it's going to be Von Miller. Injured all last year. Him and Chubb are finally healthy again. Last time that happened was Chubb's rookie year. They both had double-digit sacks. Just throw it out there. You also got Saquon, Christian McCaffrey. That might be in there as well. Obviously, you said Wentz. Burrow is a great.
I did not say Wentz.
No. But when you look at some of these people, there was a lot of, and then Odell Beckham Jr. You can throw in there too, possibly. If he has a style.
I mean, yeah, all those guys are. Listen, I think all those guys are going to have a really good year. Even McCaffrey, I think all those guys are going to have really good years. I felt Joe Burrow, the way he came out, he was going to be hands down rookie of the year. So
right, and everybody forgot about him just because the way Justin Herbert played.
Yeah.
Which player do you think is going to have such a huge sophomore slump?
Is this 4?
This is 4. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a player that set the world on fire last year. Like if it's someone that didn't set the world on fire last year, that might be like they're so bad to the point the team might give up on them. But
I would say Justin Jefferson is going to come down to earth a little bit.
That's what I was thinking.
And I'm going to say Herbert is going to come down to reality a little bit too.
See, I think Herbert might be the real deal. And with a new coaching
I think he's a real deal. I just think he's going to come down. Both of them had you watched them, you would have been like, they Hall of Famers.
Yeah, right.
After their first season.
I think the guy that by the end of the year might be looking for a new home, even after the second year, will be Tua out of Miami. I think that they just won't give up on him entirely.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You're seeing the fact, like, I actually had to look because it's funny. Who made the playoffs in each AFC and NFC? Like, obviously, I knew the Super Bowl. I knew, but like, let me ask you, what was the Seahawks record last year?
Aren't they like 9-7?
They were 12-4. I don't remember the Seahawks being that good. Like they were.
Well, I mean, last year was an anomaly, man.
Right, but I say that just to say, like, I understand last year was vastly different, obviously, entire world. But like, when I looked at that, I was like, wait, Seahawks won 12 games? I remember them being that must be the most average 12-win team ever.
Ever.
If you had,
I thought they were 9-7. I'm thinking about the year before, I guess.
If you had to pick one team. I won't say a surprise team per se, but one team that wasn't really dominant last year, that all of a sudden is going to be that dominant team this year, i.e. the jump that the Bills made, who do you think it would be?
The Giants.
You think the Giants won't be dominant, like where they're just like, yo, whoa, where'd this come from kind of deal?
Kinda almost.
Okay.
And what I mean is the Giants last year, like nobody bypassed the Giants. And let's be real, the Giants, what they were 7-9 last year?
No. They were 6-10.
6-10 with the quarterback who missed 2 games after he started getting hot, and without their best player and their offensive line in shambles.
True.
And we're 6-10. Another team, I'll give you 2. I'll give you my NFC and AFC team. New England.
So I was going to say New England. Don't be surprised if New England's your number 2 seed in the AFC.
Don't be surprised if New England is 12 games, wins 12 games, so 11, 12 games.
If for argument's sake, if New England is 12-5, is Cam Newton the comeback player of the year? I can't imagine they go 12 wins without Cam having a good season.
Yeah, he's still gonna have a good season, but I mean, can he be? I mean, to me, a comeback player of the year is somebody that was hurt almost all year.
I mean,
the year before missed almost the whole season. I mean, he missed 3 games because of COVID, or 2 games because of COVID, and then just looked like shit.
You have had players that look totally like shit, and then the following year have this amazing year and win comeback.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. I mean, I would say what I categorize. I mean,
right,
to me,
right. And that's what you normally see, someone who's injured, and then
Right. I think because I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs, but I think Cincinnati's gonna make some noise to where it's gonna be like come down to the final week, like you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, if they need this team to win and this team to lose, and they're in. Like, that's what I think is going to come down. They're not going to, but I think they're going to. I think Cincinnati's going to be the AFC version of the Eagles. And what I mean is that they're going to win like 7-8 games, but even in their losses, they're going to be like, yo, they 1 or 2 pieces away from being one of them teams.
And I'll make this an official 6-pack of questions. Opposite end, what team do you feel is just going to fall off a cliff this year?
Ooh.
For me, I wouldn't be surprised if you only see 6 or 7 wins out of the New Orleans Saints.
But that's expected because Drew Brees retired.
I mean,
to me, I expect them. I mean,
they were talking about the Saints made the playoffs in spite of Drew Brees because his arm was dead, and it's all about Alvin Kamara. Kamara's the greatest. Kamara.
If anybody feel with a healthy Michael Thomas and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think they're going to be great. I think they're going to be a mediocre team anyway. I mean, I expected New Orleans not to be New Orleans. Just like the easy way to go is Dallas, right? Because every year
Dallas was 6-10. I mean, to fall off a cliff from 6-10, you have to be what? 3-14?
Right. Well, my thing is because people are, Dallas would have won 12 games if Dak wasn't hurt and it wasn't COVID.
Right. So
that, I mean, that's the easy.
You know what? Another one that, and if you think of something, don't interrupt me with another team, but I'm curious to see how Seattle looks after this kind of off season with Russ saying this, that, and the third, and all that stuff. And the Cardinals getting better. The Rams, in my opinion, got better, even though they don't have a run game right now. And the Niners getting healthier.
Since you said that the surprise is 12 wins, Seattle's going to be my off the cliff team for all those reasons you just said.
I do have a feeling, unless if there's any catastrophic injuries, that you're going to see a very competitive NFL this year. Like, you're not
see a fun NFL
and fun. I don't think you're going to see too many blowouts. Like, I could see, all right, I'm sorry, I'm just not a believer in the Lions and golf and all that. So I could see the Lions not really being competitive. I could see the Dolphins not really being competitive. Of course, the Texans, I could see them not being competitive. But beyond that, I mean, 3 out of 32 teams, The Broncos, their defense comes together the way they can, and the fact that they got Bridgewater there and all that, I can see the Broncos being competitive. They might not win a whole lot, but I can see them keeping up, losing 21 to 14. You know what I mean?
They're going to make a lot of good teams booty hold tight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So are we. It's us, Cincinnati, Denver. We're going to be the team. Oh, man. They look like them teams that are, but also, listen. Just like I said, and people going to laugh, just like I said, Cincinnati's going to be the AFC version of us. Washington is going to be the NFC version of Denver, where they got the defense, they got some key players on offense, they just need the quarterback.
Well, you know what?
Anybody think
Bridgewater, Fitzpatrick kind of.
Listen, look, Bridgewater has 10 more seasons before he becomes Fitzpatrick. I mean, how many more seasons do we have to realize that Fitzpatrick's good for 8 games, if that?
Or whenever he plays against the Eagles. Like Fitzpatrick is trying to beat us with every team in the NFL.
Every team. Yeah.
That's our show, people. Just a reminder, man, like, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, if you listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever you are getting podcasts, that's where we are now. We will be posting stuff at the very least once a week. You'll be hearing stuff a lot more often. Most of it will be about football, especially with football being back. But we might just have just a little podcast about top cereals and why you think Cinnamon Toast Crunch is great as opposed to where I think it's an imposter. We'll go into that stuff because it's fun, So, bottom line, thank you for joining us. Tell a friend. Don't forget to check out our Two Brothers Same Mother Facebook page. If you want to follow us on social media again, I'm Sheik Styles, Sheik, SheikStyles, Instagram and on Twitter and, that stuff. And you are AJG_233.
Yes, that is my Twitter. Also, listen, regular season, football season's here. So those 20, 30-minute things we was putting out there because we was just trying to find stuff not happening. I'm excited. And we just going to lick-a-dick it. Just go along with it.
We are going to have a 5-minute thing on what is lick-a-dick it.
Lick-a-dick it. Long and hard, baby. Let's go.
Oh, man. Be safe. Enjoy. Have fun. Most importantly, peace. Anything else from you?
Peace. Just lick-a-dick it. Peace.